We've been talking about a salt and light approach to investing. This is a biblical principle. It describes how we can use our investments to impact the culture around us without being corrupted in the process. Salt is a preservative, and it's also a catalyst. Think of the term being salty. It's a description of how your investments are designed to bring about needed change and help preserve our culture. When you follow the principle of SALT, you use your financial influence to push corporate boards to drop the progressive leftist agenda. By the way, I don't believe that companies have to push a right-wing agenda necessarily. Ideally, I want the companies that I invest in to be neutral in the culture wars, but excellent in their respective business operations. I don't want woke Coke. Neither do I demand that Coke push conservatism. Rather, I'm happy with a politically neutral Coca-Cola serving many happy customers of all political stripes. And that raises an interesting question. We know that Donald Trump won about half the votes in the last election, plus or minus. So why would Coke want to offend half its customers? I can think of 4 reasons. 1, they think it might be economically beneficial. That's a scary one because it means that our free market is dead. Either the company expects favor for supporting a certain agenda, or they believe customers will not be allowed to have a choice. Maybe Pepsi's also woke and other alternatives won't be allowed to succeed. We kind of saw that when Apple, Google, and Amazon all seemed to conspire to eliminate Parler as a social media alternative. The second reason could be that Coke thinks it might be politically beneficial to be woke. That's also scary, as it would suggest our individual liberties are dead or at least dying. Coke would be serving the political powers rather than their consumers. Do you really want your soft drink telling you how to think and act? That's what China might demand, but it is not the American way. The third reason could be that the leadership of Coke is serving its own interests and agenda. That's the most likely answer, as the far left has been able to take over the corporate boardrooms, advertisers, and business partners. So the board, the CEO, the corporate officers, they're no longer serving shareholders. Instead, they're following their own path, and it's up to you to take back your rights as the owner of the company. The fourth reason might be that the leadership really believes that this is what their customers want and their shareholders want. They might really believe that all of America is waiting on them to take us into a new era of enlightenment. If that's the case, then Coke shareholders and customers really need to stand up and shout. We're not all progressive leftists, and we want a good soft drink, not a lecture on how to think. It doesn't really matter which of the 4 reasons is valid. Maybe it's all 4. Regardless, the answer is to be salty. If you really think that our economic and political liberties are dead, then you have to stand up. Likewise, if you think the leadership of a company is pushing their agenda, regardless of the reason, you have to change their minds or make them change their job. It's absurd that a soft drink company is trying to cram their agenda down the throats of their owners and customers. Now, if you don't think the salty approach will have an impact, then you can try going with light. In this case, your job is to expose the corrupt agenda and avoid getting sucked in. This is where you boycott products, sell shares, and look for alternatives to support. Here, you weaponize your spending and investments to promote neutral companies and maybe even companies that support your values. Imagine a freedom soda. Of course, I'd be just as happy with a neutral Coke and Pepsi, but if necessary, we could build an alternative that is just as good as the one captured by the left, but ready to serve the rest of America. If you've been paying attention, you realize that corporate America has gone off the rails and that most Americans are slowly being cooked like a frog in a kettle. You understand that freedom isn't free and has to be fought for, and you know that this is another form of economic warfare being waged against you. The point is this, it's not just one or the other. We need both salt and light to address the corporate capture that's already taken place, and we need to be very serious about it. If you like the Coke brand, then get some shares and fight for it. On the other hand, if you think one cola is just as good as another, then maybe buy the Freedom brand and show your loyalty that way. But here's the problem. You're busy, you have habits, and you don't need to add a corporate crusade to your already full plate. That's why we're here. The economic war room is your war room to equip you to fight. And there's good news. You have the weapon if you're spending and investing, and I know you are. What you really need is someone who can help you fight the good fight. Whether you take a SALT or a light approach, there are many financial professionals who can help. In fact, they should be able to do it for you if you invest with them. You know how to tell a realtor the kind of house that you want, and he or she'll go look for it for you. Well, it should be the same idea with your investments. Your financial advisor should be looking to address your needs and wants in your investment portfolio. The problem is, most financial advisors have never even thought about any of this. Too often, they tell their clients what they should want rather than listening to them. Here's the answer. We educate the advisor. He or she is the person who should be helping you succeed with your investments, and that includes making certain that your investing reflects your values. So step number one for you as a client is to take a SALT and light approach to your advisor. SALT means that you should push your advisor to get economic war room training. You can nominate the person you work with by going to economicwarroom.com/advisor. You give us his or her name and we can reach out about our next training class. We've partnered with Liberty University to provide world-class online education. We offer 8 modules of in-depth training that will help your advisor better understand what you want and do a better job communicating with you about that.